One woman's life changed forever when she took just 3 pills. Talia Smith was healthy and active and the primary caregiver for her veteran husband, who is quadriplegic and in a wheelchair, when she was prescribed the antibiotic commonly called Cipro for a simple UTI. And from there, Talia says she was never the same. Less than a week after taking the meds, she was in the ER, unable to eat or walk. And after 5 months of struggle, she ended up in hospice, dropping to just 65 pounds. She now relies on round-the-clock aid. And it turns out that reactions like Talia's are rare, but they do happen, and they have a name: floxing. The side effects coming from one class of antibiotics in particular called fluoroquinolones. And these drugs have a black box warning from the FDA. It's the administration's strongest warning applied to medications that can lead to injury or death. But that information is not always getting to patients. Earlier this year, Talia joined me here on News Nation Prime to speak about the devastating impact that this drug has had on her and her family. Here is part of that conversation.
My husband's a disabled veteran and was injured. And for a decade before I took Cipro, I was his primary caregiver, and I worked full time, and I worked out 7 days a week. And, just taking care of him and the amount of care that he requires. I now look at my life and I'm like him. I'm sitting right next to him in a wheelchair because of 3 pills. 3 pills. And now I can't take care of him. I can't take care of myself. We both require 24/7 care now.
I know this conversation has been on my heart since February, and so many of our viewers have reached out as well. We want to welcome back in now Talia Smith. She has legal representation. She is continuing to fight these side effects. Her attorney, Tom Bosworth, is here as well. Welcome both. Talia, it's so good to see you again. Can I start? How are you doing now? And what prompted you to take this next legal step?
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm doing okay, pretty much the same. There hasn't been much improvement. But when I was last on the show, you had spoken to me about, representation. And I said, I want to focus on my recovery and my health. And then a couple of days later, you had another piece about what my legal options were. And so I started thinking about it. It was just another stark reminder of my situation, because a lot of times as I'm telling this story, I forget it's actually me. This is actually my life. And, I may be like this forever, permanently disabled. And I feel like this isn't just the story about me anymore. This is about everyone that has been harmed by a fluoroquinolone. And as you saw in the piece that you just showed, I lost everything. I lost my independence. I lost my health. I lost everything. My career that I worked so hard for. And it's just not right. It was because I trusted a doctor who wrote a prescription for me, and I am now permanently disabled. And because of that, I thought, I have put myself in financial ruin, really, to survive over the last 3 years, and for care for me and my husband. And that just made me think, I need to do something about this, especially after, being on your show and you talking about it. And then that's when I reached out to attorney Tom Bosworth. And the great thing is that, he had told me that, my statute of limitation was coming up. I don't even know what that is, but he explained that to me. So I thought, ooh, timing is of essence.
Yes,
and not only that, but he agreed to eagerly take my case, but also help other people that have been, harmed by fluoroquinolones. And to me, that is very, very important.
Yeah.
And so here we are today.
Talia. I know that helping others, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know helping others and spreading this message is so important. And, Tom, I do want to bring you in here. You're a catastrophic injury lawyer. Tell us more. Who can be held accountable here for?
This is crazy. You go to your doctor to get help, and they made it worse. Yeah, I definitely think she needs to sue for this because she's coming out of pocket to pay all the medical bills and to take care of her husband at the same time. The extra money that she could sue and get is very much needed for this family, and she needs to do it right away. I hope her and her husband could get well soon and they could get all the help they needed. Let me know what you guys think.